Good to go.
Hi guys, welcome to our Google Hangout Live for July. We have the Bucketlist Bombshells on with us today. We got connected to them through them actually mentioning One Woman Shop in their email newsletter and someone forwarding it to us, which we're really excited because that's something that we talk about a lot in our Building Your Online Community e-course is kind of featuring other people to get connected. But we are so excited, and so if you guys can just tell us a little bit about yourselves and your e-course and just jump in there.
All right. Well, I'm Canadian, so I came down to Mexico from Vancouver. I booked a one-way ticket 2 years ago, and so did Cass, coming in from California. And we met down here at a coffee shop, actually, and became instant best friends and roommates. So originally, I was working as a social media manager for a tech startup. But again, I really like the environment, but I didn't really want to build someone else's dreams. So I always had the vision that I would be my own entrepreneur. And so I started teaching myself all of the skills that I would need and took my work experience from being a social media manager and kind of started playing around with working online. And that's kind of how I got started in my field. And yeah, that's how I ended up booking a one-way ticket to Mexico. I was like, you know what? Where's the closest, warmest city I can get to? And someone said Playa, and I was like, all right, let's go. Or I went by myself, but I was like, yeah, I'm going. 2 weeks later, I was down here. So I'll let Cass introduce herself.
Yeah, kind of, I mean, a bit similar, but I went to school in Texas, in Fort Worth, and I studied strategic communication and business, and kind of like Shay, I've always kind of had this dream of like running my own business and doing my own thing. And so as graduation approached, everyone was kind of signing up for the corporate world thing, and I don't know, I just knew it wasn't for me. I don't know how else to explain it, but I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I really liked design, and so I had kind of taken some graphic design classes, and then I kind of started teaching, like self-teaching myself how to design websites, and I kind of just went with it. So like Shay, I booked a one-way ticket to Playa del Carmen, and I kind of like set myself up online and just, I don't know, just kind of winged it. I was like, I wonder if I can see like if this can work. And so I went into our little local coffee shop. It's called A Cacao. Their coffee's amazing.
Oh my gosh, best coffee ever. It's my favorite.
And I saw this blonde one sitting there on her computer, and so we started chatting, and she just mentioned kind of telling me what she was doing, and then I think that was kind of a moment for me that I was like, I'm not the only crazy one here, like thinking that I can do this and kind of do it on my own and like in another country. And then like Shay said, we became roommates, and then from there we kind of like, I think really because we had each other, we were able to like learn from each other, and kind of like it motivated us to be like, okay, like now if we build our own businesses, like what if we could work from anywhere? Like what if then we started making this bucket list and traveling, and then anyway, the whole journey kind of goes from there. But yeah, that was the original story of how we got started.
That's awesome. I think it's just hilarious when you're describing that, because I think for Christina and I, it's kind of the same idea where we both were doing our own thing, and then when you discover that you have other people around you, it's a game changer, right? You're like, oh my gosh, there are other people that are as crazy and as passionate as I am, and this is possible. So from that day on, were you just kind of like, we want to share this with other people, Bucketlist Bombshells was born, or were you building your bucket list and all of a sudden it was like, hey, we're actually doing this, let's help others?
Yeah, so it kind of came from, like, we were sitting around our table kind of planning our first trip, which ended up being Guatemala, but we started creating this bucket list, and we kind of just dubbed ourselves secretly the Bucketlist Bombshells. And so we kind of were building this brand, but then when we decided to create the course and start really building an online community for other female digital nomads, that's when we took the Bucketlist Bombshells and we thought it fit perfectly to create a little community of bombshells around the world. So it started off more as like a fun little thing for us, and then it kind of just melded into our like lifestyle, and that's exactly how our brand is. So we bring everything about ourselves into the brand, so we thought that Bucketlist Bombshells really fit with that. But originally it was just a fun list for ourselves.
Yeah, and I think kind of off like what you were saying, like meeting other people and being inspired, like originally, again, it was just kind of us, like our little lives, and we were like, let's do this, like let's build our online businesses and let's travel. And so we did that and moved from country to country, and we were constantly meeting other people all the time who are like, what do you guys do? And mainly people on vacation. Like honeymooners.
Oh yeah, so many.
We're always tied with honeymooners on our little
excursions. It's like us two, and then we're like on excursions, so there's always like 6 other honeymooners, and we're like, yeah.
But people.
That's what's gonna happen when Sarah comes to visit me here in Guatemala.
Exactly. So we kind of just, I don't know, we're sharing our story because, of course, that was just what we were doing. There was no like course or anything else like behind it. I don't think we really realized that other girls would be interested in doing what we do. Mm-hmm. So that kind of was like that inspiration. People were like, oh my gosh, like what do you do and how do you do it? And then kind of the, you know, inspiration for the course was born. And as we started, like we launched our first sales page. This was like our big deal because we were kind of putting our idea out into the world, and we started writing for Elite Daily, and like our emails started flooding from girls like, it was kind of beyond us, like all over the world, like Malaysia, Australia, the States, like we had no idea these girls like felt the same way that we did. And so kind of from there, again, like we always talk about how like our students inspire the course, because it is like, it just kind of starts as like a feeling, and you sort of know that it's whatever it is isn't for you, whether that's the corporate world or you know have always like had this inspiration to start your own business. And we've been able to like help other girls make it a reality, which is so amazing. It's been really cool. But yeah, that community.
Yeah.
Yes. We love to harp on community as well. And I love that you guys have, I like that you say it started as kind of a little secret, because Sarah and I have started advertising this, but we call each other Peach and Mint. And this just started because our website colors are peach and mint, so we're like, let's just call each other that. So I'm Peach and she's Mint. But it's I know you guys probably understand like the weird things. What was that?
We have so many little behind-the-scenes secret names we corner ourselves.
Or we call like different sections. We're like these random little names that no one would understand. Like if someone saw our like business meeting notes, they'd be like, these girls are crazy.
We often take screenshots of our G chats and we're like, we should probably just get rid of these.
Yeah. I know that,
and we like
never go public.
Yes, and we refer to everything as an acronym. So we're like, okay, how's PTH? Okay, I'm working on BTS, and you're working on hashtag 100 best sites. Yeah, we totally understand. But we just wanted to ask you, we ask all our guests this, if you guys have a typical day in the life, week in the life, month in the life, what that looks like, how you guys structure your days, and how you balance both your individual businesses and the joint Bucketlist Bombshells e-course.
All right, do you want to start with our typical
day? I know, it's typical but not so typical. I mean, since we kind of like move around every 2 to 3 months, it's kind of what we've coined as our like slow travel, but it gives us the time to like really get to know a new city and a new place. And as we've gone along, we've realized that like routine, we like routine in its own like way, but it really helps us be more productive. So like that for us is more like working out, like finding a gym, or like Shay loves Pilates, like finding a Pilates studio. So our day in the life kind of changes depending on where we're living. Yeah. But like for now, since we're living in Playa del Carmen, we usually try to wake up like 7:38. We're both like super productive in the morning. We kind of start to crash in the afternoon. Yeah. So we, even though obviously we can get up whenever, we usually get up between 7:30 and 8. We have little bicycles.
Yes, we love this is what I love about Playa. We have little bikes with baskets. So after we cook breakfast, we like hop on our little bikes. In Thailand it was scooters, but here we have our bikes, and it's like a 2-minute commute to our local coffee shop, which we mentioned before, at Cacao, best coffee ever.
Yeah.
So are they sponsoring you guys?
Right? Yeah. Again, like another kind of cool thing about being like, even though you're not home and like this is kind of our home, like we know the like little local baristas, and like it's just nice to feel like to kind of have that community, especially when you are location independent and like living in a different country. So yeah, we usually try to have our morning like Bucketlist Bombshell meetings, because again, like we love working on Bucketlist Bombshells, so we do that in the morning. And then usually we're there for a couple of hours, and then we'll go eat tacos.
Yes, tacos. Street tacos. Around the corner is our favorite place. We're also regulars there. They always know Say's Tacos whenever they see me coming. Say's Tacos. Say's Tacos.
yeah, we usually go out for lunch, and then we'll come home and work in the afternoon. And then around 6 o'clock is when Shay usually goes to Pilates. I'll go for a run, and then in the evening we really try to like close our computers after 5 or 6, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
it's difficult. We try though, and do something unwork related. So like meet up with friends for like drinks or I don't know, whatever it is that we're.
There's great live music here, or like even just walking Fifth. Like there's always something to do. That's what I really love about Playa.
Art walk.
Yeah, the nightlife here is really great. So.
Yeah, it's kind of
like our current day in the life.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very like slow pace of life here. I mean, compared to the city, like I grew up in Orange County, which is like a really fast city. So we ride our bikes to the grocery store, and we ride our bikes to get like fresh coconut juice, and I don't know, it's cool. Like I love that about Playa. It's like a very slow pace of life. So yeah, we're able to be like super productive and spend our time on like what we want to be doing, which is like working on our business and then like taking care of our personal lives, because we realized that like
that was a big realization for us.
Yeah,
was creating that routine and then making time for things that back home, you know, it's so easy to just go around the corner to the gym, or it's so easy to meet up with friends because you've had those friends for 5 years. Whereas when we're on the road, like we really have to think about when we're in a new city, like, okay, where is the gym, or like where can we go running, or where can we go out for drinks, or how do we go meet people, or where are we going to work from? Like there's all these things that we always have to think about on a constant basis. So now we kind of have like our main like top 5 things that we now want, and we always make sure to incorporate that. We do like a lot more research before we go to a city, and we kind of have like a new criteria that we kind of rate the city off of on whether or not it'll be good for us as like individuals, but then also as digital nomads.
Yeah.
So that was probably like a big one for us.
Like a huge lesson. Yeah.
Yeah. And then sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to answer the second part of your question. You're talking about how we juggle our personal businesses and then how with Bucketlist Bombshells. So we basically integrate the two into our own lifestyle. So we have our meetings and we have our to-do list that we both need to do for Bucketlist Bombshells, and then individually we have our client to do. So it's just making sure, like, we are super organized. It's actually like a big passion of mine. So I have like our calendar color coded. I have like all the details. We have different like project management systems, and so we basically have everything integrated together. So it's not like they're super separate, like we have our separate businesses, but when it comes to like if I need to jump between Bucketlist Bombshells and Mindless Publishing, like I can do that very easily. I've integrated it so that it's all together and kind of like one to-do list.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then of course
Sounds
like
like
tacos to break it all up, so
Yeah.
I love that.
Tacos for days.
I'm a little jealous there. I'm sure my tacos do not compare.
You know, Rochester doesn't specialize in tacos.
Well, you'd be surprised. We have some good options.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like one of the things you guys touched on is that as kind of a location-independent digital nomad, it's really exciting and it's amazing. I mean, I'm doing it right now, and I think it's the greatest thing I've ever done in my entire life. But then it's also like, you know, you hear people being like, you don't spend every day at the beach. You're like, no, I work, and it's surprisingly routine, which is also really fun. I also really like my rituals, my routines. I know Sarah does as well, and so it's a balance of really exciting, but also kind of a little boring in the best way possible.
Yeah, we talk about that. Like sometimes people think, or like you'll see a couple of those photos of a laptop, like on the beach and like the pina colada, and like not to be negative here, but like you wouldn't be able to see your screen if you stand in your computer. You're gonna be hot. Like,
You're gonna be drunk. You're not gonna do client work.
So like while you still have that freedom, but again, like because you are a one-woman shop, like you're in control and you're responsible for bringing in that income too. So like choosing where you're most productive. For Shay and I, that's normally not outside, which sounds, again, like as being location independent, like there's cafes and stuff outside, but that's why we work from either a co-working space or we work from home or a cafe. Like we're just most productive there, kind of like what you said. And yeah, we don't, like it doesn't, it's exciting to us, like, again, I mean, maybe to someone else who's, like, living in the city or who hasn't left yet, like, we love our little daytime routines, like kind of what we were talking about. But yeah, it's not, some of it is daily life. Like, yeah, we go to the grocery store and it's not.
Sometimes our days are very average. Some days we're riding elephants, and then other days we're just going to the grocery store on our bicycles and trying not to get hit by a random bus, you know, like a everyday life.
Yeah, so, I mean, of course, just like anything, it has its pros and cons, of course, but like, well, obviously we love being location independent, so those definitely outweigh the cons. But yeah, those are some of them.
The beach is still there. The beach is still there. Like, you may not be able to work from it, but I get to walk around the corner and go to the beach after work.
Yeah, or like in our last tournament, we would usually take like 3 p.m. It's kind of when we start like crashing, 3 p.m. So we would take our breaks at that point, and like Shay had a really cute pool, so we would go and just like hang out at the pool and kind of like, sometimes we would chat business, or we would just kind of like take an hour break and we'd come back and make lunch and like get back to work. So like you still have that freedom to make the schedule whatever that is for you. Like if you want to go to the beach in the morning or in the afternoon, or you want to go to yoga, like whatever it is, but also like you said, remembering like you're probably not going to be working like from a rooftop pool, like while you're lounging in your bikini. Like we tried it. We tried it.
It does not work.
It sounds fun. Like no work ever gets done. So that is a big myth.
Well, that's actually a great lead, because my next question was going to be, can you please debunk some of the myths about being location independent? So the first one, life is not just a beach.
Yeah,
that's exactly actually the like biggest #1 myth.
Yeah, I think that, I'm trying to think if we have another one.
That's the one
I guess the working, kind of like going off of that, like people think, again, like I kind of mentioned, like you're still going to be putting in those hours. Like you're kind of going again based off the beach, like if you're signing up to be a one-woman shop and be location independent, like it's not like you're signing up to, again, work on a beach and put in like 2 hours a day. Like it just doesn't work like that. But like if you're passionate about what you're doing and you love it, like it doesn't really seem like work. But we definitely do put in a lot of hours, and that's kind of where we've kind of decided to like, okay, we have to force ourselves to close our computer around 5 or 6, because sometimes we were finding ourselves in the beginning working till like 1 a.m. and like while we love what we're doing, that's not, we also want to create a lifestyle, kind of like what you were saying. So still putting in the hours, I guess, would be...
Yeah, that's probably a big one, too. A lot of people think, A, we're lying on a beach, and B, we're just kind of like fiddling around on Facebook or something all day long, you know. And a lot of people think that like you just work like 4 hours a week. And personally, just because the way that we are and like the way we want to grow our businesses, and we want to grow our businesses fast, we put in the same amount of hours that I would if I was working back home. But I also chose that. You know, there are places you can go and live really cheap, and you could work for, say, 4 hours a day and still make ends meet. It's all about like what you want. The lifestyle that we wanted to create. I think a lot of like one-woman shop entrepreneur ladies out there, from the feedback that we've gotten, they want that lifestyle too. So that's what we're trying to help create, is this like non-backpackers budget. You can live anywhere. You could work a couple hours a day and you make some freelance income, but if you want to be a one-woman shop, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to build something and grow it, you're going to be putting in the same amount of hours you would back home. You're just going to be doing it now in a beautiful city multiple times, like multiple cities around the world a year. So that's the bonus of it.
Yeah, we talk about that in the course, and like I think that relates to being location independent. Like, is travel kind of like a side note? Like, you really want to run your one-woman shop, but travel is kind of just like a bonus, or is like travel your like, you know, this kind of like, this is your goal in life. You want to travel, and your one-woman shop is kind of just like a little side. Again, it's the bonus. So we talk about that, because that does really play like a huge impact, which we, again, like in the beginning we didn't really notice, and now that we've met people on the road, and like Shay said, we meet people who run their own businesses but only work a couple hours a day because they bring in less income or whatever. But that's not us.
That's not what we
love. I mean, I feel like we have a good balance.
We have a good balance now. It took a little while to get there, I think, but now like I think we have a great balance, a great lifestyle. So.
Yeah, one of the things we always preach, and maybe a little too much, but is that business really isn't one size fits all. And it sounds like the same goes for location independence. It does not mean the same thing for everybody. For somebody, it might be the 4-hour work week and travel is their main priority. For others, like you guys, you're really striking that balance. So it's a good portrayal that it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Spoiler alert, we actually have a post about this coming up on the site, so we'll send it to you guys and everybody else listening.
there's always a spoiler alert. So that's a good lead-in. Do you guys think that anybody can take on the location independent lifestyle, or do you think there are certain people and certain roles that are just cut out for it?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a lot, of course, like especially when we were building our course, because of course we want to be as authentic as possible, and if we feel like everyone can be location independent, like we want to be able to portray that. So I think that we kind of come to the conclusion that I think some roles in some industries are easier, of course. So like, of course, like I'm a website designer, I do graphic design. Like Shay helps online coaches. Again, that's a very like online specific role and industry. So of course, those are the ones that people hear of most often. But we also have found that there are other industries that people wouldn't think of, like accounting and being a lawyer and or being a doctor. Like
or the interior designer. There's a girl out there who works online as an interior designer. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, you just have to be a little bit more creative in either what your services are, what you're providing, or like, are you taking your knowledge and putting it into ebooks or blog posts? So we kind of stumbled across that.
Forms too. I think people think, oh, I have to build a website or I have to do social media management. But there are so many different forms, like what you're saying. Like, there's online products, there's like digital downloads, and then there's also like the graphic design stuff or the like website design stuff. But there's like different ways you can package it. Like, you can even take one skill and turn it into like 3 or 4 different types of services, like different variations.
Yeah, and like that was something, again, like I don't think they're as common. So again, if you're wanting to, like if you went to like graduated in accounting or something, then yeah, it's probably a little bit difficult if you're online trying to find other one-woman shops who work online and are an accountant. But they are out there, which was so cool because our accountant is online.
She's amazing. She literally is just completely virtual and only works with online businesses. And like, I was so floored when I saw her website. I was searching forever.
And she's extremely, extremely successful. So yeah, like as we, grow our business online, like we need other like services. Like we have an online notary person.
Oh yeah,
like, our minds have been blown. We Skyped with our notary person. Yeah. So yeah, like again, it's not as easy as just being like, okay, website designer, like. We get that, but for sure, like being a little bit creative and figuring out, okay, like what is my knowledge or what is my industry, and almost everything these days is online. So like, how can you package that for an online service? So I think yes would be our overall.
Yeah, it's funny that you guys mentioned the accountants and the lawyers because we've obviously discovered, we do a prior to the hire series, so we get really familiar with people in different specialties, and I'm always impressed with all one-woman shops, don't get me wrong, but the people that are like in a very traditional field, like a lawyer, I love when they think outside the box and they're like, oh my gosh, I can take this online and serve everybody everywhere. I love that. That is always just so impressive to me.
Yeah, like,
I know. I get so excited. I'm like, what?
We'll just be like working on our computers. I'm like, Shay, this girl's an interior designer and she works online. And we're always sending each other info. She's like, what? How does she do that? So it's cool. And like we, of course, like based on the course, we love being able to like showcase and show there's so many industries. And like, of course, we just have our own experience and our own like personal story, and we share like what we do. But we do know that that's a little bit easier because we do have like online, like pretty concrete online services. What we also want to be able to show people is that through our experience, we've met and found all of these other people in different industries, and showing them like get a little bit creative, just like you said, and like figure out how to take that knowledge and like make it work online. Like if this is something you really want to do, like I'm pretty confident. Like I'm like, tell me what you do. I want to like, we come up with services for people too, because some girls email us and they're like, I'm in, like again, using as accounting example, like I'm in accounting and I'm an accountant in like New York. I'm not really sure like how I can make that work online, and like
we start researching and we're like, okay, you can do X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
and here's some places to find some of those clients, and like, okay, what do you think of this? And like, what's your personality type? Because we're gonna feed that into your brand as well. And we're like structuring it, like packages for these people. Yeah, so we get a little carried away, but we we love it so much, and we think that anybody can turn any simple skill into a full one-woman shop.
Yeah.
Guys, I have so many ideas. Sarah knows after these hangouts, I'm like, ideas. This is awesome. I love it. And I like, again, just to kind of reiterate what Sarah said, I don't know if you guys know this, but Sarah and I have never actually met in person. We've been running a business together for like a year. She lives in New York. I'm in Guatemala. I know.
That is so cool.
And we just, we were kind of like an unofficial partnership for a while, and then we just recently transformed into like an LLC partnership together, and that was an entirely virtual process. So it's exactly what you guys are saying.
Yeah, because we were like, we're in Mexico. How do we get a bank, get a business, get an address? So we just had to go through all of that stuff, which was really exciting because we found all these new online resources. So.
Yeah, for sure. Like what you said, when there's a will is a way, and like online, it's so possible. Like, I mean, you just have to do your research, but yeah, like we have a virtual business office in Vegas, and like, I mean, this is for people who are like, really, like, can you do that? Like, they record our voicemails and like transcribe them and send it to us. Like, there are so many things that you have no idea. But yeah, like once you need that type of service, I guess. But yeah, you would be surprised at like how many things are available online. But I can't believe you guys haven't met in person.
That is so
like the ground is going to shake the day that happens.
We're like, I had a dream the other night that we met in person. We were just like chit-chatting away, and we were like, she dreamt about me, and we were like, we're dreaming about each other. We have to meet in person.
That's hilarious.
So I wanted to ask, so you guys mentioned, obviously, some people contact you and they're like, I don't know if this works for my industry. So we're curious about some of the other things that the other concerns that people mention to you, maybe before buying your course or just when chatting with you, about what's holding them back from being location independent. Can you guys talk about some of those other kind of fears that people mention?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest fears is the money, and they don't think that they go out there and can start this business and actually support it, especially because a lot of the travel that people first start doing is like a vacation. You're going to spend a whole lot more money on a vacation than you are when you're actually, say, living long-term in a city. And you're also don't realize that a lot of the expenses that you have at home, you're not going to have those on the road. You're not going to have a car. You're not going to have a lease. You're not going to have, there's a whole other slew of things. Plus, you're probably living in a cheaper country once you leave, say, the United States. But in general, I think people have this big fear that, A, they're not going to be successful making money, and then the other part of that is that they don't have a skill, again, which comes back to making money. So supporting themselves. I think being independent maybe would be like the overarching one of all of that. Like there's a little bit of a fear they're going to have to be super independent, and I think that could hold people back a lot. And I think like the little issue underlying there is how do they support themselves financially? So
yeah, I think that's good. I think it also comes down to like the fear of the unknown. Like I think everyone, like you were saying, kind of has their own fears, right? Like whatever that is, if you're like parents or like, you need to work corporate and you want to have this super stable job. So everyone, we get a lot of emails, like you said, from girls kind of in different situations, so they have different fears. But I know for me in the beginning was like kind of what Shay said, that was a big one for me. Like I was like, can I actually like support myself? And that was a big thing for me. Like I had just graduated, I had student loans, and I wanted to be independent. That's always been me. So I was like, I need to be able to like support myself, feed myself, pay rent, and that made me really nervous in the beginning. And going off of that, like fear of the unknown, like you don't know a lot of things. But at the end of the day, my big like motivating factor was like, what I do know is that I don't want to work in an office because I did that, and I didn't want to work like under a boss. There was all these things I did know, and so I felt like if I just kind of ignored that, then yeah, like you need to, going back to like our little quote, like you need to be willing and committed to like make that change. If that's something that you want, and like yes, it's gonna be scary, but my thing was like if it doesn't work, then I will just go back. Like that was my kind of big like I don't know, safety net. I was like, okay, if I do this, like I gave myself a month kind of when Shay and I were in Guatemala. I'm like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to build my website. I'm going to try to find my clients. We're going to live in Guatemala. We're going to see if we can like balance the work and travel lifestyle. And if all else fails, I will send a resume and I'll move back to Dallas, Texas, and I will like find a job, and it's there. Like it's not going anywhere. It's waiting for me. So that was kind of my like, I don't know, my safety net, I guess, in my head. That I was like, okay, if this doesn't work. But of course, like another big thing we talk about in the course is like being on the road and like getting to wherever your like ideal destination is going to be a huge motivating factor and like getting you to make it work. So like when we were in Guatemala, there was a huge list of things we wanted to do. Like we wanted to see the volcanoes, and we wanted to explore a coffee plantation, and we wanted to do this and do that. And so of course we needed money to do that. So like it motivated our work in itself because we were seeing that like we were in it, you know, you make it work. We were like, okay, we're going to do this. Like we're going to figure this out. We only need 3 more clients to be making like X amount of income per month. Then we can like afford to do this, and we can afford to do that. So I think a lot of what we hear in like the emails from the girls is like their fear because they're back home and everyone around them is like, working the 9 to 5, and again, like we talk about, it's not for everyone. Like if you want to rock the 9 to 5, like do that. That's all for you. But we want to reach out to those girls who feel like why don't I feel like this is for me? Like why do I get on the train every morning and I like wish I was doing something I enjoyed? But I think a big part of why they feel that fear is because everyone around them is doing the 9 to 5 thing, and they don't have that.
Or telling them that's what they should be doing
the route
too. Or like a lot of our parents in that generation, it was like you go to school, you go to corporate, you make your money, you travel when like you're old and your kids are grown up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is like a lot of the fear that we hear from the girls. But the big thing like we talk about is, I mean, we had those fears too, but it's making that commitment to make a change. Because really, like if you don't take action, if you don't do something today, whether that's taking our course or like being like, okay, I'm gonna teach myself how to do this, or I'm gonna like lay out my services, like whatever it is that you can do today to get you one step closer is really gonna be like that defining factor. If you kind of decide to be like, okay, well, I'm scared, so I'm just gonna like leave it over here, like just to be honest, like that's why we're here for. Like 2 years later, like we don't want you to be like, oh, like I should have done that, you know? Like that is kind of the big thing. Like we really push our girls to take action. Like you need to in order to see that change. So.
Okay, so that just brought up like a million thoughts, of course. So really, the funny thing is, during our Twitter chat last week on location independence, we asked the question, what do you need for yourself and your business to be location independent? And I think the realization is I don't actually need that much. I just need to leap, and I will figure it out, right? So that's the perfect example of that. But that you mentioned a couple times about change and commitment. And I know you have this fantastic video on your site, which I could watch over and over and over again. But can you explain to us what your 3 C's philosophy is?
Yeah, so it's essentially a quote that we found on Pinterest. We will not take, we're not going to credit for writing the 3 C's quote.
We adjusted a little. It's a little original.
Yeah.
But no.
We stumbled across it when we were brainstorming like our ideas for our first promotional video, is what you're talking about. And yeah, we really wanted it to be like inspirational, of course, with the travel stuff, but again, like when it comes down to it, it's taking action. So that was kind of the inspiration behind, I don't know, like kind of started it all, I guess.
Yeah, we read that quote, and then all of a sudden it just started flowing together, and it just felt like really all of the choice, the chance, the change just felt so much like us and exactly where we were and essentially what we need our students and everybody that wants to have this lifestyle to think about, you know, like making that choice, taking the risk, taking that chance, and then ultimately making the change that you want, that you know in your heart that you want, but it's like a huge risk, and we know that, and we wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, for sure. It's easier said than done. Like, obviously, if you sit here and we're like, you know, make the chance, like, take the chance, make the change, like, we were there. So, like, we firsthand remember, like, what it's like if, whether that's at your home and you're, like, selling things at home, or you're selling your car, or, like, you're putting things in storage, like, yeah, it's so much easier said than done, for sure. But if that's, like, a change that you want, like, if you really sit down and think, like, okay, like, I'm unhappy in my current lifestyle, so I need to get rid of these things, and that's kind of like, it's scary. It really is.
Yeah.
But once you get to the other side, and of course that's what we're here for, like we're so happy. Like there's so many things. Like I had a little storage like compartment at home that when I was letting things go, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't let this go. I'm gonna need this. I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need that. And I went back home recently, and I was like, I don't need these platters. I don't need these like wine glasses. I don't need, random things that you kind of, what you were talking about, like if you're living on the road, like yeah, those things get a little bit more minimalist. I mean, we talk about not living a backpacker's lifestyle, so because we want to live comfortably, that's just like, that's just Shay and
the
I.
average digital nomad that is currently out there. We probably carry a bigger suitcase, but
like I kind of like shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our weakness.
Yeah.
That's probably our biggest weakness.
But again, the important part is location. Oh, sorry about the delay. I was saying location isn't one size fits all, so you can have all your shoes or you can have no shoes. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. My test, if I can carry them up a flight of stairs, it is good to go. I will never expect anyone to carry my bags. I will carry them myself, but I'm bringing a whole lot of stuff with me.
I love it. I have a suitcase, and it's technically a backpack, but it has wheels. And I was like, do I count as a backpacker if I just wheel my bag? I'm not really sure yet.
Suitcaser, that's what we coined ourselves, so don't worry. Suitcases unite.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, one will be in the mail, don't worry.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Roll our suitcase.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Don't worry.
So we had a question. So I don't know if you saw, we just launched our new e-course, Building Your Online Community, and we talk in a lot of different ways about building relationships, a lot. We talk about a lot over the 14-week course. But we obviously think you guys have an awesome brand. We think, your graphics are cool. Like, it just kind of, your name is awesome. It just kind of, like Sarah said, your video is great. It ropes you in. But we're really curious. We know you have like a, pretty decent sized audience, and we're just kind of curious about some of the techniques, if you can share about how you guys have grown that and how you've really gotten your business and your e-course in front of people.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, thank you for your compliments on our branding, because
we're so detailed. Like, we are meticulous about our brand, and so that's actually like, whenever we receive that compliment, it's like huge for us, because we spend so much time cultivating that and cultivating our community, and being like so specific with our branding. So thank you for that.
Yeah, but I think that goes off what you said. Like, we're very strategic in like the decisions we make, whether it's like an Instagram post to a mailer to a collaboration. Like, we, again, because we're like a startup, we sit down and talk to each other like, okay, this person approached us, so like, how do we feel about this? And we don't just wing anything. Like, if we decide we're going to come up, like we have a summer interview series coming up, we decide we're going to do that, or we decide, whatever it is that we decide to do, we do it 100%. And so I think that our audience, or I would assume like our audience appreciates that.
Yeah.
From everything from the branding to, we just don't wing anything. And
we wouldn't just like send out something just because someone contacted us about it, or just because it was a cool thing we saw. Like, it has to be kind of like almost like an epic thing, or like like something that we love and that we highly recommend. Like, we don't, anything that we say our newsletter, anything we put in there, it's either like we use it, we've like scoured the site, we've decided, yes, this is like something we want to share with our audience because we personally like put our stamp of approval on it. It's not like we don't really take anything, like Cassie was saying, and just wing it. So I would say just being really strategic, and then knowing who your audience is. Like, talk to them as if they're sitting right in front of you, and who are they? Like, you need to know their core fears. Like, the biggest thing, I mean, I took entrepreneurship and in school, and like just creating this business and creating my other business and working with other online entrepreneurs, like those are my clients. When they come to me and they don't know who their target audience is, it is so hard to get their community engaged with their brand. Yeah. So the biggest takeaway for any one-woman shop would be know who your audience is, and know their fears, and like what are you doing to essentially take away those fears from them, and like how are you helping them? So that, and also just knowing how to talk to them, like our age range, like we talk to them as if they're sitting in front of us having coffee. You know, we're not going to throw technical terms at them, and that kind of stuff too. So I'd say that, and then I guess our biggest thing for growing our audience was collaborating with Elite Daily. So they have access to our audience, and so we started writing for them, and we saw definitely like a huge growth in our audience. So that was one PR strategy that worked really well for us.
Yeah.
Our Instagram, I don't know, like our Instagram is blowing up all the time, and I think that because we were so particular with what we post and the like photos we have and the way we talk to our audience.
Yeah, I think like sitting down, which is like what Shay and I did, and kind of what she said is like, okay, who are like 3 main target audiences? Like we literally sat down and we were like, okay, like number 1, like where is she at right now? Like what is she currently feeling? What did she just stop doing? What does she want to do? Where does she want to be in like 5 years? Like we did that for each of our target audiences. And then like, of course that took like a bit of time. And then from there it was like, okay, how do we find like person 1? Like where is she hanging out? Like is she on, I don't know, Snapchat? Is she on Pinterest? Is she like, I don't know, on Facebook groups, like blogs, like where is she in the online world? And then kind of going off of that and growing our list was, since we had a very small list in the beginning, is reaching out to other people who have your audience but have a larger reach. Like I know it sounds like, you know, pretty self-explanatory. Oh, yeah, I ran the contest.
But a lot of people don't do it, even though it's self-explanatory. We always talk about this, is just because people know it does not mean they're doing it, and that's a huge thing that we...
Totally, and that was our big thing with Elite Daily. Like, we both, again, that was like another strategic decision, because we were like, okay, like Elite Daily has a lot of articles and posts, some that we agree with and some that we don't.
They can be very controversial, so that was a tough decision.
You can waste a lot of hours on there, let's just say. But we wanted to be this like really positive voice for our generation and for our age range. And so we felt like we could still come across in our articles on Elite Daily, and they have that audience. And so yeah, like knowing the background, like that was a great decision that we made. And like we got so many emails from so many girls, but again, like you said, like they have that reach that we don't have right now, and that was kind of us sitting down and being like, okay, the girls who are coming to us like are really understanding, like they want the course because they want to live this lifestyle, and like we're providing really valuable stuff for them. So essentially where like the disconnect was is that we needed to reach our audience. Like, we were like
messaging. We were obviously getting in touch with it. Like the emails we got coming in were so personal. Like we appreciate all of the emails we got because they were like so detailed, and like sometimes I cried one of them. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't worry, we cried.
And we personally respond back to all of them because we just think it's amazing that someone takes the time to share their personal story with us. And so we knew that we were like speaking to our audience. It was just a matter of like getting in front of them, which I think is the hardest part. And like you were saying before, a lot of the people just don't implement a lot of really basic strategies.
Yeah, you guys
that's really good.
Talking about target market is like music to my ears as a copywriter. And then also, you guys are like the perfect case study for our Building Your Online Community e-course, because it's so many times where you know what to do, you just need the push, you need the reminder. But I love that.
And it's trial and error, really. Like that would be, I mean, I think we found things that have worked for us, but for sure, like in any business or anyone who's starting like a one-woman shop, like sometimes you just need to try something and like see if it works. And you might invest the time and
sometimes money, Facebook advertising.
Facebook,
and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And you know, you kind of
you have to tweak things and learn along the way. And I think going off of that is there are some things that we realized, like we have a lot of strengths between the two of us, which is awesome. Like that's why I think our business is really as successful as it is, because we're good at different things, and I feel like you guys probably have that similar like relationship, like things Shay loves. I'm like, oh please, like thank you for handling the financial stuff, and like I love doing the design, so that's really cool. But if there's something that you're still like between the two of us are unsure about, we neither of us have started like an LLC in the States together, especially when we were remote. So that was something that we were like, okay, we can't just sit together and strategize how we're going to make that work. We need to research and reach out to other people who know that. Yeah. So that would be another thing. Like if there's an area of your business that you're just like, okay, I kind of realize I can't really teach myself this, or I really need like an expert, that again is a great place for the internet. Like find some blogs, or some people even have like free 30-minute or 15-minute like Skype consultation.
Oh yeah, so many people nowadays do that. I mean, that's how we found our accountant. We just did a 30-minute Skype consult with her, and she told us like 3 things that I desperately needed to know, and I got them for free. Like and I mean, now we're working with her. Yeah. So that's obviously why she does the consultations. But in the beginning, I was so impressed that she gave me the answers to my questions just on some free consult. So it's out there. Like you can, a lot of entrepreneurs are doing that.
Yeah.
So anytime we do any kind of interview, people always ask, like, what's your number 1 piece of advice for, like, a new blogger, a new business owner? And I always say, I'm like, be resourceful. The answers are out there, or the people who have the answers are out there. So you got to do it. So what was that?
I said you'd be surprised. Like, some people are so willing to be helpful. Like, people who email us, we're like, oh my gosh, like we want to help people. That's our business. Like, we love it. We're so passionate about it. So like if you reach out, like you said, to someone who like runs some sort of blog, like they're probably so stoked because that's what they do. Like they know the ins and outs of it. So it's like if you can get that knowledge and resource from someone else, like it's amazing.
Yeah,
Totally.
So we've talked a lot about the good things and then like how to make it work, but can you give us the biggest drawback you found from being location independent?
I would say one of the biggest drawbacks would be like the amount of times I actually see my family and my friends back home now, because I'm really close. I've got a younger sister who is back home and my parents, and I'm really close to them. So I think the hardest part would be being unable to I can call them, I can Skype, but I used to live 2 hours away. I could drive up to see them when I wanted to, and keeping in touch with other friends, like I have to make the effort, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but like you kind of have to go out of your way now to keep in touch with people who live back home or with your family. So I'd say that's a little bit of a drawback, just because like I had close friends that I had known since I was, in diapers, and then obviously my family. So not being able to see them, I think for me is the hardest part, especially not being able to see my younger sister, just because like she's one of my best friends. So that's probably the hardest part for me on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, like things don't come as easily, and kind of like what Shay was saying, it's not as easy as being like, oh hey, like let's go meet at Starbucks, like in 20 minutes, like right here, like to your best friend or something. Like it's not as easy as that. You have to either plan to make a flight, like I'm going to Dallas, I haven't seen my best friend in like a couple of months, but again, that's me like making that decision and being like, okay. And really at the end of the day, like we talk about having the freedom to make your own schedule. Like that's something that I'm scheduling in and making the time to do because it's important to me. But yeah, overall, like things, don't come as easily. Like it's not as easy to just get your laundry done. Like that sounds.
Even getting your hair cut can be like a nightmare. Like in a good, at the end of the day, you get your hair cut, but it's a little bit more effort.
It's just like you're learning, you're navigating in a new country and a new city, and maybe for some people like that really scares them, and they're like, there's no way I would want to do that. But for us, like it's a challenge, of course, it really is, but it's fun. I mean, we've had some moments, like you said, that are like, we've cried, we've gotten lost, like. It just happens, like it's part of life, of course, or like part of our lifestyle.
I'd say we're really lucky. We have each other, like we have like best friends, practically sisters over here. So I think that has been like an amazing thing, anyways, being on the road for me, is having Cassie alongside for that journey.
It's an adventure for sure, and like you were saying, like, there are those pros and cons. Like we've had some amazing moments, and we've
and then we've had others where we wanted to give it all up and move back home and live in our parents' home. So
for like 1 second.
Maybe like 1 second. And then we're like, okay, pull yourself together.
Yeah, like you realize, and like that, because there's so many articles, of course. And the Elite
Daily has a ton of those articles.
About like what you learn from traveling or whatnot. But it's true, really, like, it's gonna be okay. Like in the moment, like we were lost in Bangkok in like a taxi trying to get Shay's passport renewed.
Oh,
and like we thought we lost our passports in
Kuala Lumpur. We thought they got stolen. They didn't.
Like we had our moments, and Shay, like there was this one moment. Shay was like, "What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "We're gonna figure it out. Like we're gonna either call the consulate, we're gonna go travel over there. She's like, but our flight's tomorrow." I'm like, we're going to get our flight changed, or we're going to do it before then. Like, again, that goes, and I think those play, like, into our business as well. Like, come up with a strategy, like an action plan. Like, okay, freak out for a moment. Like, we do that.
We allow ourselves, like, 5 minutes of freak out. Like, and then we're like, okay, plan A, B, C.
Yeah, Shay's really
what
good
are,
at
like,
something.
the action steps of plan A? I'm like, what are the action steps of plan B? Okay. Let's start. Like, let's do it. Let's get this taken care of, and then let's go enjoy a cocktail.
Yeah, seriously. It makes sense. Like we said, that was like when we first started traveling together, and I think it's kind of like why we're such great business partners now. Is like we had a situation, when we were in Guatemala, we needed to move essentially, and we sat down, and like we kind of both were looking at each other.
This was our first time too. We just got to Guatemala, our first trip together, and we kind of ran into this sticky situation. We sat down, and Shay was like, okay, like, let's come up with a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And I was like, that's a great idea. So we came up with plan A, and we're like, okay, if plan A doesn't work, then we're going to do plan B. If plan B doesn't work, then we're going to do plan C. And, like, if plan C doesn't work, then we're going to have to do this. And really, like, I think we ended up doing plan C. Yeah, it was like B or C. It definitely was not A. A did not work out. But, yeah, like, I don't know. We had our moment. It was great. But,
yes. I feel like it's amazing though, because it's a really big learning experience, and I've grown so much as a person by being on the road. I am like 1,000 times different than the person I was when I first came down to Mexico in the best way possible. So I think it's like in the moment, yes, you're freaking out, but you are going to learn things about yourself that you didn't even know you were capable of.
Yeah, and it's like an adventure, and that's what we love about it. Like we have some great
stories. Yeah, we have some great ones. And even some of the ones that were maybe bad in the beginning now are hilarious. So
it always gets funnier with time. Well, it reminds us, we always quote the Marie Forleo. She says everything is figure-outable. So I like that you guys adhere to that as well.
Love her. She's like my number guru. Number one guru.
Yes. So we had to wrap things up because we definitely could talk to you guys all day long. But we like to finish things off with some rapid fire questions, and we're going to keep them really rapid fire. We tell ourselves this every time. So first question, favorite social media platform?
Instagram.
Twitter.
And your least favorite, the one you could care less about?
Snapchat.
Nice. Okay. Favorite daytime drink?
Daytime
drink.
Coconut water.
Oh, coconut water. Sorry. Yeah.
Nice.
Your favorite way to unwind after a long day in your solo business?
Sorry, what?
Favorite way to unwind after a long day?
I like coffee and a book. I'm kind of a big nerd.
Going for a run.
Awesome. And the last question we always ask is the best part about being a business owner is?
Calling your own shots.
Yeah, being your own boss. Nobody decisions for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Can you just tell everybody that's watching the best way to find you and contact you, and just share one more update of what you have going on or what you want them to know?
Sure. So if anyone has any questions, they can definitely head over to bucketlistbombshells.com, or you could message us personally at hello@bucketlistbombshells.com. We love receiving messages, so honestly, reply to us. We'll get back to you. So I guess a little bit about the course that we're doing is we're teaching people how to create online businesses so that giving them the freedom to travel the world, or giving them the freedom to be location independent. So we're going to teach everything from taking your basic skills and turning that into online businesses through freelancing and through your own brand as well. So that's what we are doing over here, and we're helping out all of those new and recent grads who just don't want to go into corporate, or maybe you've gone on a trip and you loved it so much and you came back and now you're like, how do I do this again? How do I fund that? You know, that's our wanderlust seeker. Or we got the corporate girl who maybe you've been working 1 to 2 years in corporate, you just don't think it's for you and you're ready to make that change. So that's what we're doing over here. at Bucketlist Bombshells headquarters, location unknown sometimes.
Yeah.
Currently at Del Carmen, Mexico.
And we have a summer interview series coming up that we're super excited about. So sign up for our newsletter and you'll receive emails from us every Thursday. We have awesome like tips and tricks, and of course we talked about that's how we showcase One Woman Shop. So we have some amazing people we're showcasing, and we'd love for you to be a part of it.
Yeah, we definitely love when the Bucket List Bombshell newsletter drops into our inbox. But the name of the course is, of course, Work Online and Travel the World. And we'll put links in our show notes as well. But thank you guys both so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We had so much fun.
If I wasn't already location dependent, this would make me want to be location dependent.